Oh, I'm so grateful that you are still here. So just you are sick, I said, so if you don't feel very well, so let me know.
Good evening from India, and also a beautiful good morning and an energetic noon to all the great souls who are watching us. I, Supriya Kumar Venan, welcome you all to our global talk show, Share Your Life Story Experience by Business Power Academy, Netherlands. And this show inspires millions and zillions. Today, folks, we have a very special and gorgeous guest from beautiful country, Florida, Dr. Sofie Nubani. Dr. Sofie, welcome to our show.
Oh, blessings and thank you, thank you. What an honor and a pleasure to share airtime together and to grow and learn. I love your shows and the great guests that you host many times. A lot to really grow from. So thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, Dr. Sofie needs not any introduction, but still, as a part of our program, still I should introduce her. She is an interpersonal executive coach, public speaker, international creative minds and strategist, NLP trainer, honorary doctor of divinity, and honorary doctorate in philosophy in metaphysics, 3x best-selling author, founder of the Circle of Creative Masters Institute and the Athena Coaching Spiritual Development Program, global advisor and educator, co-host online live show Wisdom Cafe, our program chair of MeetX, speaking doctor platform inspired by TEDx, executive president of Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. And Dr. Sofie, if I keep on going, I think full light of India will go just introducing you and talking about your accolades, that is multinational accolades. So let's start our journey. I am very privileged and honored to start this program today by Business Power Academy, Netherlands. Well, Dr. Sofie, everybody knows you, and including me, my audience who are watching us today, they are feeling so lively and lovely to be with you. And everybody wants to know about your journey. So, love to listen.
Oh, blessings. My background, I was born in Amman, Jordan, in the Middle East, and lived in different countries and continents of the world. You know, I was in North Africa, I was in Mediterranean, I was in the Gulf, and now currently I've been in the United States for 26 years. And during this journey itself, the traveling and exposure to many cultures and backgrounds and traditions, one thing that really unites us the most is humanity and our human connections and basic needs of growth. Coming to the United States was a different venture, you know. It's a different system than any other place that I lived. But through really having intellectual curiosity and openness, we really invite great experiences to our lives. And we learn a lot from the challenges and the differences of things that we face that may be unfamiliar, the uncertainty, all these things that shape us and mold us to who we become today and where we arrive in our journey at the time of the meeting of others. For example, if me and you talked 5 years ago, I will be sharing some similar content, but maybe different stories, because when we possess a growth mindset, we are intrigued, and we are always wanting to improve and self-develop. And that always allows us to truly experience new things in life and have interests that may increase or decrease based on new truths that we witness and live. And also the combination between that, your personal life, your career, your education, which all adds and enhances the journey and the influence of your behavior, of your outlook, your vision, your personal evaluation to who you really are at a core level, and what is important most and why. And it cultivates inner awareness. And this area is very important because when we're able to identify and really understand more, sometimes we may not fully understand because things can unfold in divine order and timing for more clarity as we experience more in life. Some questions that may have never been answered for years may just pop up for just one particular incident, circumstance, or experience to a full clarity and a circle of, hey, you know, that's exactly what that meant, or why it happened, or how it happened, in a much more understandable way. So being a woman on top of that in the United States, the independence part, the background and the culture integrating values and principles that are not going to be of your own personal way, but to be open enough and adaptable enough to a degree where you are able to have that flexibility and really transitioning to new realities and new experiences based on the journey itself. So I was very blessed to have traveled as a child, also not just lived in countries, but, you know, with my family, with my parents, vacationing, and all that adds to the expanded perception of our own consciousness and so forth. So it has been a beautiful journey, I would say, pursuing different fields and disciplines has been very exciting and intriguing, you know, from NLP to, you know, emotional intelligent coaching, different various diversified backgrounds, including aviation, including, it's just all connected on a deeper way in areas of creativity and optimizing a creative mindset that can lead to innovation, creativity that can lead to innovation, basically.
Wow, that's really lovely. And it's really, great to listen such an inspiring and exhilarating journey from Dr. Sofie. Well, Dr. Sofie, before I move, let me tell you this beautiful platform where I've been working with Miss Veronica Siban. She is also an NLP practitioner, business coach, and she is doing wonders in this field. And she has been inspiration for so many women today. All and what the inspiration I'm getting from her, and we both are working for the betterment of the society, calling people and for the West, and learning a lot of things and giving back to the society. So, Miss Veronica Siban, the floor is all yours to say golden words.
Artist, thank you for introducing me, dear Sofia, and I would like to welcome both of you to our global talk show where we meet to speak heart to heart, to inspire, to educate, and to motivate people around the world. The main goal of the global talk show, which I created about 2 years ago is to inspire, to connect people with each other and to show them how to unleash their inner mind power and how to use their hidden talent, because every one of us has a hidden talent. Only we have to be aware and to unleash our own talent, going deeper so in our inner power and our true way to be.
That's awesome, Miss Veronica. And it's always been lovely hearing you about your wisdom, about your nuggets, which you always give. So thank you so much for this beautiful, lovely evening and enriching everyone today. Well, Dr. Sofie Nubani, my next question is really waiting and popping up to come out from me to you. And I would like to know, including my viewers who are watching us today, being a very strong woman, how did you cope up your challenges in life?
Oh, yes, thank you. And it is always inspiring to me to hear of other women who have done great work in service to humanity. And that has always been an inspiring area of my life. And first to be was my own mother, who I tremendously respect and look up to, not because she was my mother, but she was truly very assertive and gentle at the same time. And I've learned a lot just being in that environment of great leadership from parenthood. Not everybody is fortunate to be in that space because, you know, as a coach, I worked with many clients, and childhood has been one of the basic areas we always go back to for a lot of recovery and healing so that they can move forward in life with better understanding and more empowered self journey. And so when I went through my own personal challenges, first from moving, you know, as a child when you're in your teens and you move schools, and there are things that are not comfortable because your friends, your community, what you're comfortable with. Then as an adult, you know, coming to the United States and dealing with different systems and mindsets and really trying to be integrated in the culture. And the corporate America world was, you know, very different than anything else that I witnessed. And especially then we faced 911. You know, there were a lot of hate crimes you know, many people were suffering with that. We still see a lot of things happening globally in that area. But just to mention that it always has been an area of drive for me. I always tell myself that things could be worse. And it really gets me to humble myself and to appreciate the present moment and what it is giving me as a challenge. In the beginning, I would say it wasn't as smooth really facing those challenges because I was growing myself. You know, I was really building my inner strength and core from a girl to a lady to a very, you know, independent woman that was very grounded in her walk of life. But to have made always time to reflect and contemplate. And when I faced what I faced, that question has been very, very consistent during my challenges. An attitude of gratitude had always paved the way for giving me a better stamina to move forward and more appreciation to what is and what could be the learning, including the loss of my mother, you know, including my divorce, including, you know, major changes, life events in life. And another area that helped me a lot was anytime I went through a hardship or considerably a more diverse, you know, adversity of a time or season, I always ended up signing for a course or class of something that I was very interested in. And that completely shifted my attention on the problem itself, and allowed me to be able to process it much better and lighter. And then later in life, and that's the recent season of my life, I went from that, of where I wanted to receive new teachings and learnings and everything else, to actually offering my time and my services on both fields, volunteer and paid. It didn't really matter. All of that mattered is that I was in service and in areas where I was passionate about, and I was excited showing up. Either way, you would not make the difference for my volunteer and paid work, because I truly had an intrinsic motivation moving forward towards those kind of acts. And that's kind of really allowed me to understand who I am as a person, and the internal process that I've created in the midst of those times for myself. And having, an optimistic view of life and positive view of life always is beautiful once it's balanced with having a realistic view of life. Because with everything that we face, no matter what, you have to really deal with the present moment, and you have to really face your fears, and you have to really sit long enough on trying to solve your problems and finding solutions, so that you can perform and you can really be in a better way of action and organized planning for whatever it is that you are dealing with or facing. So those were all tools along the ways. With a lot of things that I've learned, I started to apply. For example, I am an NLP trainer and master practitioner, but at the same time, I also am an EFT and TFT practitioner, which is tapping. And one thing I loved about tapping was the acknowledging of a negative situation, which people would consider negative, maybe. For those who really start to learn that the challenge could really be the best gift that you get, because it allows you to grow. It gives you feedback of where your soul and wisdom has reached in this area of your life, at this timeline of your life. And it keeps giving you that feedback. And once you look at it as a feedback, and the setback becomes a feedback instead of a failure as a definition to one's mind, then it's going to fuel and charges you, because now it becomes exciting, first of all, to even discover your support group, your internal resources, your external resources, your own internal dialogue. Where have you arrived on how you talk to yourself? Where have you arrived on how you actually view the situation from an outside perception, meaning a reflection from the outside in versus you're in it and it's you. It's happening to me, instead of for me. What can I do with it? All these things, once you start really filing them and really using what you need on the situation, and depending on what it is and its intensity, then you are going to really start to learn who you are. And knowing thyself is one of the toughest things that many people struggle with. And truly, we continue to grow. Therefore, we continue to explore who we are, because it's okay that some people might think, oh, that person has changed. But the truth is, it's not only change. Some people eliminate things in their lives that don't serve them well anymore. And because of their new reality, growth and understanding to what could be more toxic or empowering or, serving to their journey, that they might have to let go of things, habits, people, whatever it is the case might be, that others might view them as, oh my God, they change. What can't change is really like your core essence, and that is your authenticity, your character, your internal values, your integrity, your compassion, your courage. Those things can be enhanced. They could be worked on if somebody wants to improve on the quality, on the standard of that particular character in their way of living, in their emotional values, in their pain and gain values as well. So other than that, there's a lot of things that have happened through my life myself. And each one is a blessing, I would consider, even though many will call it lessons, which is right. But a lesson is a blessing. The blessing is from learning from it. It is only something that people can feel like what happened and they are upset about it if they haven't learned from it, because they're going to repeat and repeat until something awakens from within. It's like, oh my God, there's a hole over here. I can't go there anymore. Last time I fell in that hole. Well, how many times we're not going to recognize that that path is having a major hole and it's going to sink you in, and it's going to, dim your light. It's going to put you steps backwards instead of forward. And so once we start to look at things from that perspective, we look at everything as a blessing in many ways, on many levels.
Wow, Dr. Sofie, I must say, women, thy name is fragility, but women are very strong that they can break any mountain. And that's what the vibes I'm getting from you. All the women who are watching us today, whom they think that they cannot do this thing, what the world will say. Really, your answer today proved to so many people, to so many women, that they can do anything in their life. And whatever happens, it's just a lesson in their life. They should move forward and they should not get demotivated. And Dr. Sofie Nubani, you have not given just an answer. You have given thousands of answers in your just single short answer. So thank you so much for this lovely, lovely, inspiring answer that has motivated each and every woman of this world who is watching today Dr. Sofie Nubani guest talk show. Yes, Miss Veronica.
Dear Sophie, so I would love to give you my compliments for your deep awareness, for your inner and mental awareness, because even coaches with years of experience, they don't have it such deep level of awareness. I have been talking often during my live streams about the mental and inner awareness, which is the essence and the key for our success in all areas of our life in general. It doesn't matter what we are doing. My question to you is, your aha momentum of transformation, the first time that you became aware of your own changement, so the inner power shift and the mindset as well. When has happened, so this aha momentum shift, and if you remember it?
Yes, there are several moments as our soul shifts from different experiences. And when you are have an attraction to learning, you're going to have more of those moments, because you will discover things about your own understandings that were not necessarily as clear as you continue to grow. But one of the moments that, other than during the classes of NLP originally in 2011, I did an emotional core value exercise that opened my eyes a lot and my soul to who I really am, that made me understand that a lot of my choices that I made in life were based from that core emotional value. And when I connected the dots, I had such a soul liberation, and I understood more my behavior, my attitude, and my personality. But I never had put it together under a name, and that was freedom. And it hit me harder when I went to the beach one day when I was just journaling. And I asked myself, what is so special about that word to me? When I say freedom as a core value, but what does it really mean? And I went back and I came to a realization. And I wrote 3 papers, pages. And first came to me is when we are born, the first thing that happens, that your cord is cut from your mother. Everything that we can learn and grow from has already been in nature and witnessed by our creation. So many answers are there in front of us when we're able to really be in a state of solitude and actually think higher and deeper and feel. So if the cord is cut for a purpose, why? So even though the mother is carrying a child, we all as humans have come to this journey with the support of a family or someone, right? Whether it's a doctor, whether it's adoption, you name it, to take care of a child. So as something is growing, it does need that support. But in our timeline, though we enter alone, we go through the journey, whether we build family, friends, and relationships. And then when our timeline ends, we also leave alone. There is lots of wisdom just from this way of creation. You are accountable to your own doing. You are responsible to your own life, decisions, and choices on a deeper level. No matter how connected you are with spouse, family, anything, you are having your free will to choose. And in the end, we cannot blame our mistakes because of other people. Now, circumstances sometimes may be hard on some, but what nobody can take ever is your inner dialogue and how you speak to yourself. And with that, truly, like Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, he was in a concentration camp. And I love that book a lot. For anyone that's grieving, I talk about it a lot because it's really very empowering. To lose your family, immediate, parents, siblings, wife, and children, and only one survived as a sister, and a year later she passes away. Yet to be known as a father of psychology, he's been very, very doing great work with that. And to want to be of service and truly to find meaning in the midst of the struggle is very powerful in our journey. So when we look at those things, and talking back to an aha moment on my end, was freedom. What does freedom really mean? Then I said, okay, so we come alone, we leave alone, we're responsible for our own decisions. But what would make us get to that level? You have to be convinced of what it is that you really want. And when you get to that stage, I said, okay, so if I am convinced and I have clarity basically of what it is that I want, so I can make choices. Because when you're not clear, other people are making your choices for you. You're just following. But when you're self-aware, you have clarity, you're able to make better choices for yourself, self-lead. So my third ingredient that had to be for anything to happen in our lives was courage. Without courage, nothing can exist. And for you to have the courage to take action towards choices that allow you to arrive to your core value, whether it is, because for me, without freedom, I cannot experience peace. Without freedom, I cannot truly experience valuable, meaningful relationships. Everyone is different. For some, it could be, achievement, connection, love. Everyone has a higher core value than the other, depending on what it is, emotional pain or gain values, and so forth. And so when I started learning about that, I understood more. And that was an awakened moment in my life, is to really understand my personal emotional pain and gain values. And that's truly allowed me to transition and transcend to a higher level of thinking and connecting to my own core, and which made me then speak my truth and more louder and more confident and more at ease, because it was easy for me to make decisions. I simply asked, would that make me feel free or not? Will that add peace or not? So it identified a lot of things and allowed me to really walk into my own power and not give it away, and really feel empowered and inspired by the why behind my behavior, my choices, my decisions, and so forth.
You are amazing, amazing, amazing. So such deep awareness and discovering your core values, which are so the key of our heart and soul, because then when you discover your own core values of your true self, the way you really are, it means anything. It means the freedom, self-love, self-esteem, and growth, so on levels. I have the next question. Why is so important to build everything in our life based on our core values, terms, and norms? And in everything what we are doing, even relationships, business, everything what is surrounding us.
I would like to also bring light and shed light to the audience about the importance of being adaptable and flexible sometimes, because if we sometimes become too rigid in our way of living, then we may hurt ourselves in times where there might be a transition to our shift of our souls that we lose on, because we're holding on to something that we learned about ourselves years ago. So you always want to test your emotional temperature, and you want to test where you're at in this season of life, and really connect and ask, how are you feeling about that? Has anything changed? Because you have to know that sometimes there are outside circumstances that could really add a major influence of the way that you might have to become more creative in different ways and still feel aligned with who you are, but also discovering the new, because the old must go sometimes for the new to enter. And in such a fast way of living with technology and the way the world has become so small, we also start really learning a lot faster and more about things, and things that we have learned maybe wrong all these years. So we give ourselves permission to change our mind and understand what new emotion is developing, if so. However, going back to the consistent guiding principles and values that will probably always be more embedded into the decision and choice making of your lives, and the importance of being aligned to your own, is because when you're not, you're literally not living your own truth. The minute you are not, you are following, or just going by default to somebody else's. And the only way that can ever work okay, maybe sometimes, is if the person realizes that their own emotional core values are not serving to them, to where they're at in their journey and the environment and culture they're surrounded by, because they would have new learnings to go by. For example, if you lived all your life in New Zealand, and then suddenly you are going to travel to Japan, and you have certain values, but the country, the culture over there is so different. And with time, if you're going to apply how you are, you may never ever feel supported or connected even to the society and the community you're in, because they will look at it as disrespect, possibly. So from those areas that I just don't want the person who is listening, and the importance of you connecting to your values is crucial. But I want you to also be adaptable and flexible to positive change that could be serving for a higher calling of your journey, that calls for reevaluation of those emotional values that can maybe be best to be revisited, so you can feel revitalized, and energized, and looking at it from a fresh look. Versus maybe the way that you just allowed yourself to be, because at that point, that's all you knew and you're comfortable with. So it is really nice to always really connect with who you are, and have time to journal and to meditate, to really reflect and contemplate, because those are going to be the times that you are taking a breath and you are actually making some time to see where you're going, instead of run, go. And you just don't realize you are now in this state that you don't even have a map. And it's nice sometimes to discover and explore, but if you're trying to go towards a goal, a target, it's hard to arrive without a map, because it will be too chaotic for you to even feel grounded and mentally structured for you to perform at your peak potential best, basically.
Thank you so much for your detailed explanation concerning the core values of our true self. And I have one more question, then I will give the word to our host, Sofie. Speaking with purpose on stages, how important is that? Because there is people out there, or coaches or educators, that they speak only to speak, but we need a purpose to speak, so to achieve our goals, and speaking as well based on our core values, which is so crucial to be yourself and to build as well, so our life, the true way how we are, and our businesses as well.
I missed just the first part. Was it a question?
Yes, like speaking with purpose. So
Yeah,
why
yes, very
should
important.
we speak so with purpose on stages, on global events, even on talk shows and so on?
Purpose gives you a sense of direction, you know, and when you are speaking with purpose, depending on, you know, if you're speaking on a stage or you're speaking in a panel or a mastermind, there's always a topic. And the topic is what the person would feel capable enough to speak about based on their information, knowledge, experience, and expertise. And if they are speaking with intention, it creates meaning. And the message that you are sharing is going to be a lot more powerful because it's going to be a lot more meaningful. So identifying that with specialized knowledge when you are speaking, it just makes it more effective, efficient, and productive. Because then you're going to help also, you know, whatever the topic is, to really invite sustainable success. With that, if you don't have a sense of purpose and you're just speaking, because in the end, you're not going to have an audience that is going to be loyal, or not even just maybe a new audience that would be interested, because there's no consistency and there's no depth. There's no depth. And, you know, everyone can talk in surface, but when we want results, there has to be a plan. When you do coaching, you know, it's not about a therapy session. You're just listening, or you know, you're giving them homework to do. You're getting them engaged. You're really allowing every modality that you might use to really work for them and with them together. So a sense of purpose is very crucial, because, you know, I'm a very intentional person. I work with intention with everything, you know, including if I'm cleaning something, I clean with intention, you know, visiting, doing, traveling. It just creates a lot more meaning. And meaning is so beautiful to our life. It adds more joy, and joy is youthful. When you have that joy from within, it really projects outwards in the way you deal with people, with yourself, with your problems, with your colleagues, with your family, your spouse, your children. It really does do all that. So can you imagine that one little thing like that can really have such a positive impact? And sometimes you can be no agenda, no nothing, and just flow. But you know, when you are going to be presenting or speaking, your background knowledge and experience might guide you, because basically you may not understand that you're speaking with purpose, of the identification of a purpose to you, because you can have different purposes in your life. And people think that, you know, what is my purpose? You might not just have one purpose. There are people who are polymaths, and 21st century today calls for polymaths. They call for creativity. They call for innovation. They call for collaboration. And all of those things can also come from multidisciplinary backgrounds. It doesn't have to be one discipline. The combination, just like Einstein, you know, he played violin and he was a scientist, and you know, the combination, it's really complementary play, adds a lot to the real productive, creative thinking, because it creates a balance. So you can have different purposes, but when you are speaking with meaning and purpose, intentional, it really becomes another whole level of growth that you are going through yourself, because we are always either learning or teaching at every point of our lives. And when you're teaching, you are learning instantly. And from that space, you are growing. And this is why it's so important to recognize that and to allow yourself to just enjoy the present moment and the journey of co-creating as you are growing as well. So yes, I would say having an intention creates a meaning, and the meaning will really bring forth a beautiful way for a sense of purpose in how we deliver a message and how we influence a society and impact the world with that, you know.
Thank you so much. It's very, very powerful. So your message, and when so we talk with purpose is also about connecting with our soul, but also with the people in front of us. So giving a powerful meaning to this connection, and as well to the learning process. As you mentioned it, we are always learning something at every stage in our life. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Dear Supra, so I give to you the word.
Thank you, Ms. Veronica, for enlightening this session. And my last but not the least question to Dr. Sofie. Dr. Sofie, we all know that you're a coach, you're an executive coach, NLP trainer. But besides being that, what do you do in your leisure time activities, your hobbies?
I'm a nature lover for sure. And between my career and my personal life, nature has always been the charger of my soul. And I seek activities, whether it's sports and or just enjoyment, meaning, you know, from playing sports outdoors or going to the beach or being on a kayak or a jet ski or a boat or going to a hike in a mountain. All of those things are very important for my personal balance. And I create and invite those experiences in my life often enough. You know, I am aware that my soul feeds well with nature and from nature. So I seek of it more often. And it really has been a great ally for my inner peace and balance as well. So I like that. I love to write. Believe it or not, you know, a lot of times between reading and writing, it just, for me, writing is like painting. It's like dancing. I love music. Music puts me in another whole soul dimension, I would say. It inspires me in many ways, from classical to different ones to dancing, all of these things, you know, the pleasures of life, the desires, you know, you can't completely, you know, not connect with your earthly experience, no matter how evolved you become or are, or spiritual. It is very vital that we remember the importance of being grounded and really connecting to this beautiful journey called life and what it has to offer. And if not, if it's not happening in your lives today, try to create it. And it doesn't have to be so hard or so far. It can start from home. It can start from little things, from gardening, planting. It can start from putting on the music and just let your soul dance and move. It can start from, hey, holding a pen and just see how automatic writing could just start all of a sudden for you when you're in a state of Zen and you're a state in a, you know, creating a theta brainwave state for yourselves, how you can really calm down. And whether it's sound, whether it's aromatherapy, whether it's scenery, there's a lot of tools that you can really use to assist if it is not extremely available. Like during quarantine, you know, there are times where people had curfews, they just couldn't even go out. But you know what nobody can take is the experiences that you create through your imagination. It's a superpower to really connect with your imagination. and really tap into it. And it's okay. You can exercise blue sky thinking, where everything goes and everything's possible. That's how cartoons started. And that's how Disney World is the #1 tourist attraction in the world, from a mouse and a cheese. Okay, so there's many ways that we can really, really bring into and invite to our lives. And imagination is one of them.
Awesome. And I must say, the people, the audience who are watching, they are going to say it is one of the electrifying sessions which Dr. Sofie has given n number of nuggets. Dance, whatever you're having, be happy. And the most important thing is live life in the present moment. That's most important. So thank you so much, Dr. Sofie, for giving me this precious moment of not my audience, but my life too, because I wanted to host you from a long time ago, and today my dream has come true. So thank you so much. And once again, thank you so much, Ms. Veronica, for giving your precious time and coming over here and discussing the golden nuggets too. And of course, my lovely and lively audience who are loving us every moment, cherishing us, motivating us. Thank you so much. And for our next session, stay tuned. Until then, stay happy, hale and hearty. Bye-bye.
Much gratitude and love to both of you, to all the audience that are following us and are admiring us. So we get really so many compliments and appreciations. So many blessings and abundance. Take care and see you soon.